So welcome back to Wakey Academy, and today we're going to continue in the series that we've been doing, and we are looking at the SO11 for our limited under-23 champion Euro side. There's players that I think are going to do well next season that should sort of have really good seasons and kick on their careers. So it's not the most expensive players, it's not the best players in that league, but it's the ones that I think will have a really good season and improve on last year. So in the team so far, it's the SO11. We've done 4 defenders so far. We're looking at 3 midfielders. One of them will be an attacking midfielder, which will be a separate video for attacking midfielders. But this one is looking at the other 2 midfielders. So there could be a defensive midfielder, there could be a box-to-box, it could be any other position that plays in that midfield. And again, we'll choose one from each country. So France, Spain, Italy, Germany, England. We'll choose one from each country to represent that country. And then we will pick, because we need 2 midfielders, we're now going to pick the top 2 from these 5 that we suggest today. And then the next video will be the attacking midfielder, and we'll choose one of them out of the 5 that are selected. So let's crack on then. So the first league that we're going to look at then is La Liga, and we're looking at Real Madrid and Aurelian, I always get this wrong, Tchouaméni, whatever you want to call him, Tchouaméni, you know who I mean. Great player. I thought he was going to be fantastic when he moved to Madrid, but he hasn't really broken into the team as such. He's sort of been rotated quite a lot with the older midfielders, of course. They brought in these 3 new young midfielders, the likes of Camavinga and Valverde as well. But then I thought Tchouaméni would have got in there and would have played nearly every match, but he didn't. He's been rotated. Now this guy you can pick up at £34 his 3-day average and £36 only for his floor price, which I think is pretty decent for this player. Now, as we've been doing this, I've been looking down and I've just heard that Liverpool have also got an interest in him, but I don't think he wants to go there, but Liverpool have got an interest in him, which makes me a bit happier, of course. Now, Tchouaméni is French, and we'll get a bit more into him as we go along, but as I say, the price dropped down a hell of a lot with him not playing and stuff, and of course the normal drop in prices of limiteds. But when you look at his scores from when he played in the last team he played for, and of course with Real Madrid, he's still getting good scores. But some of these as well are playing for the French side then, as you see there. Some really good scores. But looking at the Real Madrid games, and he's sort of been in and out. So he'll play a game, then drop for a game, play a game, drop for a game. 7 minutes, 11 minutes, which is good for a cap side, because obviously he'll always get a low score as well as his high one. So he'll get dropped now and again by the looks of it. But I think this time he might just settle into that team a little bit more this season, and hopefully push through to get a permanent place in the side all the time, be playing 70, 80 minutes all the time instead of just like 19 and 6 and 19 and 11. I think he's really going to push on. When we have a look at the news on Tchouaméni, you'll see here that Liverpool are sort of dominating this, and it looks like they're putting bids on him and also having medicals on him. Now, this was news to me. I didn't know anything about this, to be honest, when I started doing this video just now. I hadn't seen this news. So I'm quite surprised by it, but quite pleased as well, because it's just what they need after Fabinho being moved on. And of course Henderson's gone as well now. So we need someone with a big engine in that midfield, and he suits that perfect. So let's hope he does sort of move to Liverpool. Move on to his Wikipedia, and you can see he was born in Rouen in France. He is 6'2", defensive midfielder then. He's perfect for Liverpool, isn't he? But also perfect for Real Madrid as well, in that sense. Looking down, and you'll see here he started at Bordeaux with their second team, then moved on and went to Monaco before moving on to Real Madrid. He's played for France at every single level, looking at that, or near enough every level. And he's just getting better and better as he goes along. Now, I think, or I thought Real Madrid would keep him and would make him like a massive player, always in that team. But, to hear now that they're moving him on, or maybe moving him on, is a bit of a shock, but also happy, like I say. And we have a look at Tchouaméni then on SofaScore as well. So you see here he's right-footed, he plays in that midfield, sort of like a deep role. Valued at 88 million. And look at his strengths as well then. He's saying there's no outstanding weaknesses, but his strengths, positioning, ball interception, ball control. But what an engine this guy's got as well. You see on his heat map then through the season that he played in La Liga. Controlled around that midfield. He's not just that defensive midfield, he does get forward as well. He played 33 games with 24 starts, but only 65 minutes per game. So I think that will improve this season, whether he goes to Liverpool or stays at Real Madrid as well. 4 assists for the season, 1.5 interceptions per game, 1.9 tackles per game. That's pretty decent. This is where he's getting his good scores from then. But overall, I think he's going to be a great addition to either the Real Madrid midfield properly this year, or even, you know, a Liverpool or whoever else you might go to. That is my first player for the midfield role then, Aurelien Tchouameni, and he's from Real Madrid and La Liga, representing Spain. So we come to the Bundesliga. My next player who I think is going to have a great season then, Ryan Gravenbach. I think you'll all know him quite well now. He's with Bayern Munich after transferring from Ajax. It's not been successful, this move. He has played well in a couple of games and did really well in the under 21 tournament just recently. Although he got knocked out, he did play quite well in them games. And he's representing my Germany side here. I love this player. Really think he's good. You'll see the price of him, just £21. I mean, let that sink in. I think I paid once £300 for this lad. And he's now £21.98 as his floor price. That's so cheap then for a player of this standard. Whether he stays at Bayern Munich and tries to knock out likes of Kimmich, which I don't think he will, Goretzka, who might be moving to West Ham, or at least they're looking at that. So we'll grab him back, slot in there. There's so many players that are going to be looking for that position that he might not get it. Liverpool are looking again. They did once, and now they're looking back at him again. And again, I hope that he goes. I've been a Liverpool fan. I haven't picked these because of that, because some of this news just recently was a bit of a shock to me. So grabbing back going to Liverpool could be great also for me, because I love this player. You'll see how many times I've bought him in the past. My limited there, I paid, how much for that one? £394 for him once. Obviously, it came down, didn't get to play any games. I have bought loads in the past. And I've just bought one recently, but I bought his rare as well. So this is Gravenbach then. Price, as I say, £21. But even for his rare, it's only £200. I think he could be worth like £500 or £600 by the end of next season if he makes one of them first teams and plays all year. Now have a look at his SO5 scores, and I've heard a lot of people saying that he can't play defensive midfield. Liverpool are looking at him as a replacement for Fabinho. That doesn't mean he'll take Fabinho's place in that position. He might play ahead of him and drop someone else in there. But I think he can play in that position. I've seen him play there before, doing that holding role, or even like the deep playmaker role. But look at the scores he was getting at Ajax when he got picked up. But then he went to Germany and nothing. Absolutely nothing. And a couple of games, as I said, for the under 21 tournament just recently. Played really well. Now I know that Bayern Munich do like him. I'm not sure the new manager likes him, but Bayern Munich as a whole like him, and they wanted him to improve and keep his place there. But as you can see, he's just getting no minutes whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. Which is not great, and not great even for Gravenbach, but it means there's an opportunity now to make a great player for a cheap price. And £21, you might even get him cheaper than that if you actually put an offer in for him. But I think he's going to be fantastic this season, no matter where he goes. You can also look on his Wikipedia page then. Not loads on these Wikipedias about him, but I like to look at the careers that they've had and, and who they are. He's like 21 years old, born in 2002 in Amsterdam, Netherlands, 6'3", so really tall. Should have been a lot of headers in that midfield then. But he's a really good tackler as well. You'll see his youth career started at Zeebrugge and moved on to Ajax. Was playing for young Ajax, played quite a lot of games for them actually, and then moved on to the first team 72 times, 7 goals. And then Bayern Munich, 24 games, no goals, didn't really play a lot. I think a lot of these are substitute, to be honest. But then Netherlands, every single level again, and he's played for the national side as well. But he's just fallen off a little bit. But like I say, I think he'll get that back, to be honest. Quick look on SofaScore at Gravenbach, and you'll see he's also right-footed there. Strengths for his passing, although I've seen a few of his games where he's tried to make a pass and it hasn't quite made it. So he's got to sort of brush up on that as far as I'm concerned. He does play midfield as well. Like I say, I've seen him as a defensive midfielder before, but he really is a good box-to-box. When I watched him with Ajax once, I think he scored 2 goals in the game where he pushed him forward a little bit more, and he was just box-to-box non-stop. He was creating everything in there, running forward, getting into the box. I think he's going to be a big scorer if he starts to play, and plays in like a number 8 role. I think he'll have a lot to say, especially for someone like Liverpool or Bayern, if he's given a chance. But last season then, you see his heat map, there's nothing on there. Hardly ever played, more sort of to the left than the right. But he played a total of 24 games, but only started 3 of them, and only 24 minutes per game. I mean, how's he going to make an impact with just that? Nothing really expected of him now after that, so I think anything will be a bonus, and I think he will have a great season. I mean, it can't really get much worse for Gravenbach, can it? So that is my choice for Germany, although of course he might end up in England, but at the moment he's in Germany, so that's my choice for Germany, having a really good season this year. And hopefully a breakthrough season. Say breakthrough, he's already had a breakthrough before, but a breakthrough season in the top leagues. It's Ryan Gravenbach from Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. So my next move then, we're looking at England's Premier League, and we've got the new man, Sandro Tonali. Again, another one of my favourites. You'll see on a few of my videos, I do own one of these, for full disclosure. I own a rare from him. Have owned limiteds before and probably will do again at some point. But at the moment I don't, and he's looking at, he's come to Newcastle, where I think they're going to spend a lot of money this season. They're already looking at a few more players that are going to cost a lot of money. I think they could build their team around at least one of these guys. Maybe Tonali could be that man. I love him as that defensive role, and again looking up and playing the long ball over the top. Some of them balls don't come off, which means his points aren't as big, but to see the vision of trying to hit them balls that he does do, I think he's superb, and I really like him. Tackling's really good as well. I think for Newcastle he will be an absolute star and one of their best players to come out. As I say, I've got his rare, and he's only 266 for his rare at the moment. I think I paid slightly higher than that, so he has gone down slightly. But only £28 for his limited as well, so perfect place to stick into your limited teams then. Looking at his prices, it's come right down again. You can see his limiteds there were at one time £300, and I paid like, what's this one here, £153 once. I bought quite a few, sold quite a few, but he's one of my mainstays now in my rare teams then. So this is Sandro Tonali. Let's look at his SO5 scores then. He was at Milan before he moved into Newcastle, but let's have a look at his all-time scores. See, he's already got a couple of hundreds that you can see on there. But he's pretty average at the moment, and around these 49s, 50s, but he can hit these high scores. When he does quite well, he hits high scores. You can see the assists that he's got there for the under-23s recently. I thought he was superb again. Sorry, for the under-21s. And I think he was superb in that tournament just recently. And really stood out. He's trying to drag that team forward. You see just up here that he's had them 7 goals and 15 assists. So the assist is more of his game. And I'm sure he does get these double-doubles and treble-trebles and stuff as well. And I think in a team like Newcastle, he might be tackling quite a bit in them games. But you'll see his scores overall there. Bang on average, really, but just tilting on the green side of things. But I think at Newcastle it'll be more prominent for them as well. So on to Wikipedia then, you'll see Tonali was born in 2000, which means he could play in that under-21 tournament just recently. He was born in Lodi in Italy. He is 5'11", again quite tall again for midfield. I'm sure he's still growing a little bit now. I can see him 6 foot, 6'1" eventually. But he's now a midfielder for Newcastle United. But he started his youth career at Piacenza, went on to Brescia, then made that first team for Brescia, which is where he first got seen. And especially Football Manager fans would have known about him. He was a big thing. He was a big wonder kid. He went to AC Milan on loan, 25 games, and they snapped him up. He's now played 70 games for them with 7 goals before moving to Newcastle United. Now, he's played for the Italian under-19s, under-21s, and the first team as well. So he dropped down into them under-21s just recently, although he's a full international with Italy. And I think he could be there for quite a long time to come. Now then, no news-wise on him as you'd expect, because obviously he's just moved, so there shouldn't really be anything on him there. But I just think Newcastle are going to have a really good side next year. They're in Europe as well, of course, so more experience for Tonali as he goes along. And again, another quick look at his Solfa score then. You'll see 23 years old, 1.81 centimetres, right-footed, wears a number 8 shirt. He's worth 46 million. He's actually been sold a bit more than that, hasn't he? Playmaking is his top strength, but I think also the engine on him and his vision is fantastic. It says no weaknesses, but there is one or two sort of short passing he needs to improve slightly. But looking at his heat map there, it is spread out quite a bit, isn't it, down the left as well as down the right. But he does take set pieces as well, which is brilliant for Newcastle. Whether he gets to take them for Newcastle, I'm not sure. They've got a lot of good players in there, especially with Trippier in there as well. But last season played 34 games, started 30, 80 minutes per game, so you can see he was a mainstay for Milan. Really, really surprised that he went. Especially to Newcastle. Although they've got all the money, they must have made him a decent deal to pick him up. But 7 assists there, as you can see. His tackles per game, 1.9 from that midfield role. Really good player, and I think he's going to have another fantastic season, better than last year. And I think all them doubters might suddenly realise why I rave on about Tonali after this season. So that is the option I have for England in the Premier League, and it's Sandro Tonali, Newcastle United. And so we move to France, and then we look at the French midfielders as well. Somewhere down this list you'll see here that we've got Maxence Caqueret. So let's bring him up then. This is Caqueret. I don't know why that's on there. This is Caqueret. You'll see he plays for Olympique Lyon in the French League 1. He's still alright until next season, so you get a full season out of him as an under-23. But I think a lot of you will know him now. He's been around for quite a while. Seems to have been forever now. But he plays in that left midfield slot, and you'll see he's only £31 and only £32 for his floor price. I think it's a really good price. When you look at his last 5 and his last 15, he's already doing really well. But I think he's going to move on to even the next level this season coming. I think he's sort of gone through his boyhood bit, and now he's turned into this man and this midfielder in the midfield for Lyon or wherever he may go. And I think he's really going to turn it on and become like this massive player for them. So as we said in his price, and he was down to £32. He's only £287 floor price for a rare card as well. That's quite cheap. He has been on his limited, has been as high as £250 in the past. I've had a couple of these in the past. Haven't got one at the moment, but he's a really good player. And at that price, I might end up picking one up for that midfield role in my rare team. When we look at his scores and his SO5 scores, you can see a lot of greens here then towards his early stages. But now when you look at the latest stage of his SO5 scores, you'll see a lot of hundreds coming up here. 300s there in the last, 12, 15 games. Really starting to settle into that side. Of course, he's playing for the French under 21s as well. Scored 100 and that with a goal as well. Played as a CDM, central defensive midfielder, but can also play an attacking midfielder role as well as a centre midfield. So ideal in any position in that midfield then. Really good green scores, as you can see down there. But I think he's going to get even better. It's pretty consistent that, but I think this season it will be even better and he'll become like even more of a household name. Looking at his Wikipedia page, and you'll see that he was born in 2000, so hence again he could play in that under-21 tournament that was on. He's only 5'9", so quite short, but real tenacious midfielder he is. His current team is Lyon, and his youth career was started at De Corbus and then Chaponnet Mariners before moving on to Lyon, and then played for Lyon B team, 40 games with 3 goals. So he had a good ground in there. Then moved to Lyon's first team, 104 games for them now. And you'll see also his international career has played for every level of internationals, apart from the national side. I don't think he's got in there as of yet. So that's quite up to date, this national team, 2nd of July 23. So not played for the national side yet. But I don't think that's too far off, to be fair. Looking around a bit of the news, there's not much come recently. I mean, 2 weeks ago was the last thing, I think. That's the most recent one. Before that, I was saying about Man United, maybe looking at him would be ideal for them. But he really is developing, as it says. And here looking at this, and 2 weeks ago, Dortmund might be looking at him. To fit into their midfield, probably to replace Bellingham. I don't think he's quite as good as Bellingham, but he would fit in there quite nicely. And on to his sulphur score then. And he's 23 years old, so a bit older than the others that we've looked at. It's worth 26 million a contest. I think it's going to be a little bit higher than that. I think we're looking at the 40, 50 million for him. Strengths are long balls. But again, he controls this midfield. He's always in this midfield here, controlling it, knocking it about. I used to love him when he played with Bruno Guimaraes, when they were both at Lyon, but would he move to Newcastle? I doubt it. Like Tonali's there, but he would have been good with Guimaraes again. But with Tonali in there, I don't think he's going to go for anything like that spot now. Last season then he played 36 games, started 32, 77 minutes each game. Remember, this guy's 23 years old. He was in Team of the Week 4 times and he scored 4 goals as well. Expected goals 2.64. Big chances missed. He missed 3 of them then, so maybe his finishing needs to be improved a little bit. I don't know what everyone else's big chances missed are for the season. It's probably not a lot for the season, to be honest, but 3 missed there. 7 assists then. His expected assist was 6. He's got 7. And yeah, interceptions then 1.1 and tackles per game 2.4. That's higher than a lot of them defensive midfielders that we were talking about. So he could be a really decent player. He's never had a red card this season and only 2 yellows in total. So he can look after himself and doesn't really lose the plot too many times. And really nice player for the season. So that is my French guy then. At Olympique Lyon, it's Maxence Caqueret. And we move on to Italy and Serie A. And this guy, Samuel Ricci, plays for Torino. Now, I didn't know much about this lad. And then I saw him in the under-21s just recently for Italy. And he looked quite good. Held his own quite nice and did a bit of digging into him. And I really like the look of him. Quite cheap and I think relatively unknown. I think he could be a decent player for this season. So we'll have a good look at him now then. His last 5 was 43. His last 15 was 46. But he's played nearly all of them games. I think he's missed 1 game there. And even his last 40, he's played a lot of games. Plays central midfield. It's sort of a little bit of an attacking role, but I think he'd get away with like a number 8 position in that midfield. Big thing in his favour then here is his price is £7.30 for his yellow or limited, and £10 for his floor price. Only £80 for his last sale of rare, and £109 for the floor price. You can pick him up relatively cheap at the moment, but I don't think he'll stay on that for this season as he gets well known. Looking at his prices there, and when he first came out, looking at £40 to £45, more likely to be like the 30 mark. So to get him now at like £8 or £9, I think a real steal on that. Have a look at his SO5 scores, and you'll see he has played them for quite a long time now. He's hitting a few 70s and that. Never really made the 100 yet, but I think that will come within time. He's also hitting like an average 40 here. Doesn't play every single game, but near enough. You know, he's been a sub a few times, and a few yellows come up here. Not playing for a great team, remember, Torino, not done that well. When he scores, there's a 71 there. Other than that, a couple of greens here and there. And I think he's due for an improvement, and I think he will improve this year massively, and I think he'll become a well-known name then for a young lad. He's he's 21 at the moment, and so utility till 2026 in the under-23 team. And onto his Wikipedia page, then you can see he was born in 2001. Again, played in that under-21 tournament. He was born in Pontedera in Italy, or Pontedera, sorry. He's 1.8 metres, which is about 5'11". He is a midfielder. He started his youth career at Empoli then, and then played for their senior team, 83 games for them with 3 goals. And then moved on to Torino on loan and played 12 games for them before they snapped him up and made it permanent. And then he went on to play 28 games with 2 goals, as far as the up-to-date version of this is concerned, which is June. So it's pretty much up-to-date nicely. And his international career there, again, he's one of these that's played for 17s, 18s, 19s, 21s, and Italy's first team as well. He's played for a national side. I hadn't seen him in this national side. I hadn't really paid attention to it, but I will be paying attention to him now. And I think he's going to be a really big player again. But let's have a look if there's anyone that's interested in him then. So as usual, we stick his name into Google and we do a search on his name and then look at the news. 4 days ago, Lazio were trying to accelerate this midfielder from Torino. They want him after getting rid of Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, so they're looking for him to fill in his place. And again, more about Lazio being after him. And in the past then, towards the end of the season, Milan were interested in the midfielder, maybe to replace Tonali. I'm not sure they might have known Tonali was on his way. But Real Madrid were also after him as well, you know, going back to April time. So he's starting to get banded around his name at the moment. And after the performances that I saw, I think there's a good chance of him playing for a big team or having a really good season this year for Torino. And moving on to SofaScore then, we'll see here he's 21 years old. Contracted to Torino until 2026 unless someone comes in with a lot of money for him. He is a midfielder, he plays, well, it says right-footed. Worth 18.2 million, again I think it'll be a bit more than that. His strengths are ground duels and long balls with no real weaknesses, but again it doesn't go into too much detail on SofaScore. You know, with the strengths and weaknesses I mean. But looking at his season heat map then, you see this is the Serie A season that he's had. All over the pitch. Looks like he's taken a couple of corners as well from the left-hand side. And he's played 28 games, started 23 of them, with 74 minutes per game. So he plays for most of the game, I'm guessing. Only 2 goals. And did we get any assists? 1 assist as well there. Decent amount of touches from him then. Tackles per game is only down at 1.1, so he needs to improve on that as well. But I think, and 6 yellows, and that's quite high, 6 yellows there. But I think a player that will break into maybe this Italian squad then, the national side squad. But I think he wants to play for someone a bit higher than what he is at the moment. And I think, you know, the likes of Lazio could be a good decision for him. And he can fill in quite nicely there. So that is the candidate from Italy, Samuel Ricci, who plays for Torino as it stands at the moment then in Serie A. So that's all 5 midfielders looked at then from the different countries, from the different leagues as well. There's a hell of a lot to scout around here, but you'll see there's some big names on this list, which we haven't included in this one, but there might be attacking midfielders, so there may be in that attacking midfielder video, which will follow after this one. And, you know, you'll see a few of the other big names there as well. And we're going to pick 2 of these midfielders, so whoever comes in the top 2 will be in our team. So let's remind ourselves of the players and the positions that I think they will be in out of these 5, from like the worst to the best. So number 5 all the way to number 1. And he will, number 1 and 2. And the top 2 will be the ones who get into our team. So we move to what I think is our top 5 midfielders and under 23s from around the leagues. that are going to have a great season next year and fitting into our side then. Our fifth one I should say, is Samuel Ricci of Torino, representing Italy, Serie A. And then we have Tchouameni, or Tchouameni, whatever you want to say about him, for Real Madrid. He's at number 4, representing Spain. Then we have Maxence Caqueret, who plays for Lyon, representing France, followed by Ryan Gravenberch, who is currently at Bayern Munich, representing Germany. And we have Sandro Tonali, who's currently in the Premier League, representing Newcastle there, but obviously representing England in total. So they're my top 5 for the midfield. So the first 2 get into that midfield then. So it looks like Gravenberch and Tonali. We may even play with like 2 defensive midfielders with them 2 in it, and then an attacking midfielder in front. Or we could play like Tonali holding and Gravenberch and one over in front. We'll see how it goes. But that's the 5 so far. And so I thought I'd take you into this screen then, which is just like a build-up line, just so we can put the players into positions, mess around with it a bit, and see the final team once it's done. So this is the formation we will be playing, and I'll put the players in that we've picked so far then. So here we have it then. We're still waiting on the goalkeeper, but we have got Parisi at left back. We've got De Ligt in at left centre back. We've got Botman at right centre back, or swap on over whichever goes left and right. And we've got Kalulu at the moment then as sort of like a right wing back. And we can push these up slightly. It's like a right and left wing back. But then we've got Tonali and Gravenberch. Again, we don't need to do this. We can move these both into midfield like this. But I had them as a sort of holding. If these 2 were left and right backs, we'd have these 2 as like holding midfielders. But if they were to push up slightly, then yeah, we could maybe move these up as sort of like wing backs, attacking wing backs. But it's a really strong side, I think. And them 6 there, really strong so far. We've got our attacking midfielders, which we'll do next, and then we'll do our left wingers, right wingers, and then our forwards, or number 9 striker, or a false 9, whatever it might be, and then following on with the goalkeeper. So that's our team so far. I put them in like a red and yellow kit because I don't think anyone really plays in that so much. So, you know, if I put him in like an Arsenal shirt, people would complain it's an Arsenal shirt, but I've just done it sort of like negative colours. No one really knows whose team that is. So that's my team so far. If you like that, then put details below. I mean, if there's players you think are better than that you know of, and you really want to have a say about it, put it in the comments below. We can always discuss it in the next video, or you can hit me on Twitter, and well, not hit me up on Twitter, and DM me and have a chat about it. I chat to everybody that messages me, and hopefully I give them a nice, honest answer. I'm easy to chat to as well. But if you like that, hit the like button. Remember to subscribe as well so you see the rest of the team. The next one should be out pretty soon, to be honest. I know there's been a gap between this and the next one, and the last one, sorry. But I've had things on at work, and I work full time, so it's hard to do it all. But that's the team. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.